Hi guys, another week, another Friday, and Rory wanted to say hi this Friday. So, hi guys, thanks for coming out once again to another phaser session. So 2.4, right, we've had so much to look at in this version, lots of different types of effects we can make. I'm really excited to kind of dive into some workflow stuff later, but I'm still like working on the nuts and bolts of all that. So in the meantime, let's just take a look at shapes together. If you haven't already taken a look at shapes on your own, now we're going to look at it together. So the shapes pool is something new. If you are a former MA2 user, you'll probably want to think of these as forms, but obviously it's a lot more fun in MA3. We use words like recipes, so now we use words like shapes. So great. Okay, so you've got these 22 locked forms. So these are going to be the ones you're going to find in every single show file. You don't have to make them yourself. It's going to be a lot of the basics. What I would say, and I've said this for years, even when like teaching Grand MA2, that if you are new to phasers, new to rest effects or whatever, start with what's already in the console. Start with learning all the template effects, start with learning all the template shapes, because that's going to give you a really basic understanding of even just like basic programming, because they're putting these in there based on what other programmers have done. So we love that. Okay, so let's just make a quick little add phaser recipe here. Obviously, we're all becoming professionals at this point in our lives. We love to hear it. Okay, on and off. Great. All right, but first let's open a shape together and kind of see what values live inside here. So we have stuff like the curve of it, we have the transition, the width, the XL, decel, and then measure, and then our awesome playback options for adaptive measure, adaptive width, and adaptive XY rotation, which, oh my goodness, I don't think I've played with this yet. See, I just learned something new while we're watching. Great. I'm going to play with that more and get back to you guys. Or maybe we'll do it right now. I don't know. Okay, so that's what the shape is going to contain. So if I assign this snap shape here, you'll notice that it automatically went and changed a bunch of these different settings, which is what it's supposed to do. So it's going to take us from having to go and create a bunch of settings that we've created before, and it's going to just automatically put them in there. So let's apply the strobe one. So what did strobe do? Okay, it looks like it changed the speed on us to 600 BPM. It looks like it changed the direction as forward automatically. It's looking at adaptive width and measure, and which are all set to no. And then the curve itself is set to snap. So that's what that automatically did. And I know this is strobe, and this is like a really good base for if I wanted to create like a strobe effect with just dimmer. Now I can apply it. Let's see what snap changed. Snap changed. Oh, it looks like the speed just went back to the default. So not everything is stored in it. That's good to know too. And let's see, how about trapeze here? Oh, we love this. This is going to change some more stuff. So now the curve says custom. So when we're not looking at one of these basic curves that the console already has in it, it automatically changed the curve to custom, letting us know that we've gone astray from the basic and now we're getting super creative, right? My transition is 25, my width is 100. I know anywhere where I look, and we've seen this before in other parts of the console, like this isn't new to 2.4, is the little carets here on either side. Those carets are letting you know that these values are referencing something else. So since we know that transition and width and XL and decel are all part of a shape, I know that when I have a shape applied and I see these little carets, that's what it's referencing. Awesome. Now I wonder, and now this is just me learning things on the fly with you guys, how could I create a new shape? So let's say I've decided this shape's beautiful. Love it. Can I go ahead and store this here? Ooh, oh, did that work? Because that would just make sense. Yes. Guys, so cool. Let's try this again. That was fun. So what I've done is I've cleared out my programmer. I've created a recipe line. I've assigned my pixels to it. I've said, hey, I want you to go from 100 to 0. And now I've said, all right, let's play with this shape here. I've decided I want my transition set to 24, very specific number. Transition over here, we'll set it to 16, also a very specific number. Maybe my width is going to be 86, and my width of here is going to be like 67. Okay. Now, I did all these very specific numbers. It doesn't actually mean anything, but I want to see if this shape stored exactly how I thought it did. So I know I love all these shape settings. This is going to create the most beautiful dimmer phaser I've ever created, and I want to be able to recall it again and again and again and again and again and again. I'm going to store this as a shape here. Now, when I store it, you'll notice that it left the programmer. And when I edit this here, I can see these are all the values I applied here. So it's not like you have to go create the shape and you're like, oh, I don't know what it's going to look like. No, you can be working on a phaser and you can say, wow, I really like this shape for this dimmer effect or this position effect, and I want to recall this again. So all you're going to have to do is store it into the shape spool, and I'm going to call this my really awesome shape. Yeah, love it. All right, guys, well, thank you for coming out to shapes. I know that was just super quick, really basic intro to shapes. I'm really excited to see how I use this in my workflow, how you guys use it in your workflow, and I can't wait to hear more about what we all learn along the way.